the master. Mr. Springett sat quite still for some time after Hal had finished. Then he turned dark red. Then he rocked to and fro. Then he coughed and wheezed till the tears ran down his face. Dan knew by this that he was laughing, but it surprised Hal at first. "Excuse me, sir," said Mr. Springett, "but I was thinking of some stables I built for a gentleman in 1874. They was stables in blue brick, very particular work. Dunno as they weren't the best job which ever I'd done. But the gentleman's lady, she'd come from Lunnon, new married. She was all for building what was called a haw-haw, what you and me'd call a dick, right across his park. A middlin' big job which I'd have had the contract of, for she spoke to me in the library about it. But I told her there was a line of springs just where she wanted to dig her ditch, and she'd flood the park if she went on." "Were there any springs at all?" said Hal. "Bound to be springs everywhere if you dig deep enough, ain't there? But what I said about the springs put her out of conceit of digging haw-haws, and she took and built a white-tiled dairy instead. But when I sent in my last bill for the stables, the gentleman he paid it without even looking at it, and I hadn't forgotten nothing, I do assure you. More than that, he slips 2 5-pound notes into my hand in the library, and 'Ralph,' he says, he allus calls me by name, 'Ralph,' he says, 'you saved me a heap of expense and trouble this autumn.' I didn't say nothing, of course. I knowed he didn't want any haw-haws digged across his park no more'n I did, but I never said nothing. No more he didn't say nothing about my blue brick stables, which was really the best and honestest piece of work I'd done in quite a while. He give me 10 pounds for saving him a hem of a deal of trouble at home. I reckon things are pretty much alike at times in all places." Hal and he laughed together. Dan couldn't quite understand what they thought so funny, and went on with his work for some time without speaking. When he looked up, Mr. Springett, alone, was wiping his eyes with his green and yellow pocket handkerchief. "Bless me, Mus' Dan, I've been asleep," he said, "and I've dreamed a dream which has made me laugh, laugh as I ain't laughed in a long day. I can't remember what 'twas all about, but they do say that when old men take to laughin' in their sleep, they're middlin' ripe for the next world. Have you been workin' honest, Muster Dan?" "Rather," said Dan, unclamping the schooner from the vise. "And look how I've cut myself with the small gouge." "Yes, you want a lump of cobwebs to that," said Mr. Springett. "Oh, I see you put it on already. That's right, Mr. Dan." King Henry VII and the Shipwrights. Harry, our king in England, from London town is gone, and come unto Harnell on the Hoke in the county of Southampton. For there lay the Mary of the Tower, his ship of war so strong, and he would discover certainly if his shipwrights did him wrong. He told not none of his setting forth, nor yet where he would go, but only my Lord of Arundel, and meanly did he show, in an old jerkin and patched hose that no man might him mark, with his frieze hood and cloak about, he looked like any clerk. He was at Hamel on the Hoke about the hour of the tide, and saw the Mary hailed into dock, the winter to abide, with all her tackle and habiliments which are the king his own, but then ran on his false shipwrights, and stripped her to the bone. They heaved the mainmast overboard, that was of a trusty tree, and they wrote down it was spent and lost by force of weather at sea. But they sawn it to planks and strakes as far as it might go, to maken beds for their own wives, and little children also. There was a knave called Slingawai. He groped beneath the deck, crying, "Good fellows, come and see! The ship is nigh a wreck. For the storm that took our tall mainmast, it blew so fierce and fell, alack! It hath taken the kettles and pans, and this brass pot as well." With that he set the pot on his head, and hied him up the hatch, while all the shipwrights ran below to find what they might snatch. all except Bob Brygandyne, and he was a yeoman good. He caught Slingawai round the waist, and threw him on to the mud. I have taken plank and rope and nail, without the King his leave, after the custom of Portsmouth, but I will not suffer a thief. Nay, never lift up thy hand at me, there's no clean hands in the trade. Steal in measure, quoth Brygandyne, there's measure in all things made. Gramercy, yeoman, said our King, thy counsel liketh me. And he pulled a whistle out of his neck, and whistled whistles three. Then came my Lord of Arundel pricking across the down, and behind him the mayor and burgesses of merry Southampton town. They drew the naughty shipwrights up with the kettles in their hands, and bound them round the forecastle to wait the King's commands. But since ye made your beds, said the King, ye needs must lie thereon, for the sake of your wives and little ones. Fellows, get ye gone. When they had beaten Slingawai out of his own lips, our King appointed Brygandyne to be clerk of all his ships. Nay, never lift up thy hands to me, there's no clean hands in the trade. But steal in measure, said Harry our King, there's measure in all things made. God speed the Mary of the Tower, the sovereign and grace due, the sweepstakes and the merry fortune, and the Henry of Bristol too. All tall ships that sail on the sea, or in our harbours stand, that they might keep measure with Harry our King, and peace in England. End of Part 4.